If you stopped working for 30 days, will your farm still be running or will it have been run down? You see, this is not theory for theory's sake. This is about designing a farm that works without consuming its owner. My name is Ephraim Asha and I help CPAs transition from working in their farm to working on their farm, essentially giving them more time to do what they want to do. So, why are most CPA farm owners trapped in their own business? And here we get into the core problem, the professional trap. You see, most CPA farm owners believe they own a business, while in reality, many own a highly paid job with real risk and no exit unless they personally keep producing. You see, I've been studying this book called Managing the Professional Farm by David Maister. It's an amazing book, and he describes this as the professional trap. He says, professional farms tend to organize themselves around their most capable people and then quietly become dependent on them. In short, without them, the train is not leaving the station. So, in CPA farms, it looks like this: anything and everything that is not working well, take it to the owner. For every document that goes out to the client, the owner has to review it. The owner is the decision maker of the last resort, and there's nothing terrible with this, albeit the short-term safety net creates long-term dependence, and the farm cannot move without you. So basically, when you're going on vacation, you cannot go on vacation because with going on vacation, the farm process is stopped. And if you do go on vacation, then you're always contacted to do some follow-up, have some questions about the clients. So you may ask yourself, okay, if this is my core issue on why I'm not able to unlock scale, then how did we get here in the first place? For us to diagnose a problem, we first have to find the root of the problem. So we get here by this. This trap is so common in CPA farms because first, technical excellence is rewarded early. You see, the CPA profession rewards accuracy, precision, risk avoidance, personal accountability. Imagine if you had a CPA opposite of this. I doubt they'll be in business for long. You see, these traits build trust. But as they're also building trust, they build centralization. So the farmlands, when it really matters, give it to the owner. When it's a huge project, none of us can do it, delegate it up to the seniors. Second is clients attached to individuals, not systems. You hear clients often say, I trust you to do my work. I feel better when you handle it. Just take a tiny little peek. Yes, at first this feels like loyalty. I mean, these are your legacy clients that you open your farm with. These were your first customers. Of course, they trust you more than they trust the system you've built around it. But operationally, it's fragility. Let me just go back here. Why? A farm that cannot deliver value without a specific individual does not scale. Now, imagine you've gone for vacation, say Italy, for example, and imagine going to your favorite restaurant in Italy, and you go and you find it closed. Why? Because the chef also went on vacation, and no matter how their food is, they're not making any money. Why? No food equals no sales. No sales equals no revenue. And no revenue equals no scale. The third trap is also how we get here is risk avoidance, because risk avoidance becomes a growth constraint. CPAs are trained to minimize the downside, cushion the fall. Let's take a precautionary action. But growth requires, first of all, delegation. In the book Managing the Professional Farm, David Maister describes this as systematic under-delegation. It says that systematic under-delegation is a bad habit that reduces profitability if by increasing cost per project. If a junior can do the work that a senior is doing and the senior does that work, it is not the best use of their time in the project, and the project profits goes down. The firm also loses its ability to train the juniors with these projects that could be handed down, which means there are not as many people climbing up the skill level internally. Morale suffers because the junior wants to do more and the senior wants to do more quality work. This can lead to turnover problems and cause the senior people to neglect high value tasks that are critical to the importance of the future, of the future of the firm. So basically what is saying that systemic under-delegation increases your cost per project in whereby you have this particular client that comes in that wants something done, and because the seniors don't want to delegate, they end up doing tasks that the junior could have done. Now the seniors spend their time on this client case, which means that the juniors have nothing on their hands really, which means that the juniors are not also getting the experience that they need to develop. The senior then complains because they want to focus on bigger projects, more quality projects, but they don't get the chance to because they have their hands full with these lower quality projects that could be delegated downwards. Another thing is standardization. See, growth depends on repeatability. Rinse and repeat systems that work, change the ones that don't. Also accepting controlled imperfection. Not every task needs senior level precision. Progress requires accepting good enough where risks low, and excellence. So excellence can be reserved for where it truly matters. Maister does it beautifully. He caps it with firms that attempt to eliminate risk also eliminate leverage. The big misconception most CPAs have is, or step back later. Once the firm gets bigger, I'll work less. Let me just put my head down right now, grind. Once it's all over, I will relax. I will now let the firm run. But then reality hits. Bigger firm equals more people. More people equals more decisions. More decisions equals more involvement. And more involvement equals more work. Basically, without structural change, growth increases complexity faster than it increases freedom. And this is a personal story of mine, whereby, just imagine really, where you have your first client, the system that you build your legacy clients on. And this system, at that very moment, it works amazing. But put 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 clients, the system becomes shaky. You need to start finding ways to document things, otherwise you're going to lose documents in the process. You're going to lose quality in the process. And as you keep on scaling, then it becomes harder to track these individual pieces of the entire whole if you haven't systemized, if you haven't standardized a way of tracking all metrics, all documents needed. Now, one may ask, what are some hidden costs of working in the business instead of on the business? Working in the business, you have time cost. Vacations are interrupted, which means that the children are not happy at all. And when the children not been happy, the spouse is mad. Also, strategic thinking is postponed. Always pushing out fires, never thinking about the business. And the firm runs through you, not you on the farm. So which means, no you, no farm. Which means no farm, no money. Here, you're busy. You're always busy. Busybodies, but never free. The second is growth cost. Revenue is tied to your personal hours. You have only 24 hours in a day. And you can't work all of them. You need to sleep, eat, play, if you do play, exercise, go to the washroom. You can't work purely 24 hours in a day. It's impossible, at least not yet. So another part of growth course is decision bottlenecks, slow momentum. You still have to seek XYZ, some of them more crucial than and time pressing than others, more crucial. And time pressing than others. And you risk overlooking a lot if they are accomplished. And once they're accomplished, quality might take a hit. Another thing is capacity is capped at owner's attention. This will be a blessing if you are not a robot. But you aren't, at least not yet. Maister principle here says that a firm cannot grow beyond its narrowest decision maker. The third one is energy cost. The cost of working in your business, not on your business. The cost of seeing your business, your firm as a job, instead of looking at it from a higher perspective, as a leader, as someone who is trying to scale this thing, to give other accountants, other junior accountants, opportunities to grow, to be able to serve a bigger set of quality clients, is energy cost. So constant context switching, the multitasking scam. So as you switch tasks, you don't immediately get the focus you had before you switched, which means more time is wasted trying to go back to the original task. Say that you're working on a tax form and you were locked in, you have the client's document on the side, and then ring, 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 a call comes in. It's a client. But because it's a client of yours and you have a system, but somehow you feel that if you don't pick up the call, the client will leave you. You pick it up. And you speak to the client. Once you're done, you have now two things in mind. First, to solve what they wanted to do. And second, you have to finish what you're doing. You have to start now going back, checking where you left off. The level of focus is gone because you were distracted by a phone call. And another is decision fatigue. Your brain uses 20% of your body's energy. So imagine not having the time to take care of yourself, which means that your brain will burn dirty fuel. What happens to a car if it burns dirty fuel over a long time? The engine gets worn out easily and the operations function less smoothly. So also quiet resentment masks as responsibility. We all have been there at least once where we say that we're taking responsibility. However, because it may be draining or not moving as fast as you want it, you quietly resent as you consider your opportunity costs. Burnout in professional firms is rarely dramatic. It's usually slow and normalized. So, how do you shift from a professional, from a CPA to a CPA who actually scales his firm? A professional to a firm builder. Now keep in mind that this is not abandoning technical excellence or throwing away your standards. It's about changing your primary role. I'll say it again. It's not about abandoning technical standards or abandoning your technical excellence. It's about changing your primary role. Changing from a professional mindset that says, I solve problems, I protect quality, I fix what breaks. You adopt a firm builder mindset that says, I design the system. You see, I develop the people. I build capacity that works without me, so that I can go on that vacation I've been looking to take, so that I go on that event I've been wanting to take, so that I do that sport I've been wanting to do for all these years. The purpose of leadership is to make yourself progressively less essential to day-to-day operations, because it does something beautiful. It unlocks skill. So for us to understand how to skill, then we have to understand the three types of work in a CPA firm. The first kind of work is the P, the professional work. This type of work you normally do client service, technical review, complex problem solving, outreach, blah blah blah. Second type of work is managerial work. Hey, you're training staff, you're reviewing your processes, improving workflows, capacity planning, the same. Now, the third type of work is the leadership work. Here is where you craft your vision, you refine your strategy, you're having your hiring standards, choosing your clients, creating your book of business, you're deciding what the firm will not do. And dare I say, in this leadership work, this is where freedom is created. So most CPA owners spend their time nearly where the leverage is lowest, professional work. And the leverage is highest, you get asymmetric leverage doing leadership work. And here's how you get asymmetric leverage. Leadership work enables you to work on your business, not working in your business. And here's how. When you're thinking about the strategy, how to bring in clients, you're now thinking of how can I grow this business instead of thinking how should I run this business. It's a switch in mentality basically. And with all of this work, none of it can come to fruition unless we don't do something about it. So for this first week, here is a practical step. It's awareness. As you go to the doctor and you're diagnosed for something, you first have to know what you are diagnosed for before the doctor can give you a prescription. So for 1 week, track your time and label each task as P, which is for professional, M, which is for managerial, and L for leadership. And at the end of the week, ask, where did most of my time go? Which category reduces my future workload? What work am I doing because it's easier, not because it's strategic? You can take a screenshot of these, okay, and these. All right. Just at the end of the week, ask yourself these 3 questions, and once you have it, don't change anything yet, because awareness comes before redesign. You have to be aware of the issues first before you change it, before you get something better. I will cover in the next video series. This is a series, and I'll be covering how to escape from this trap in your business. So in the summary for this video, a strong firm does not need its owner to be everywhere. The goal is not to stop being a great CPA. The goal is to build a firm that does not depend on you to function. In summary, the goal is not a strong firm does not need its owner to be everywhere. Of course, the goal is not to be a great CPA. It's not to stop being a great CPA. The goal is to build a firm that does not depend on you to function. My name is Ephraim Asher, lead strategist at Chazara Consulting, where we help CPAs work on their firm, not in their farm. Until then, I hope you stay safe and have a wonderful week.